Okay, here we are at the Secret Handshake Art Gallery. Some of you have been asking for a visual record of the show, so here it is. The gallery was actually started as a community drop-in center for schizophrenics by artist-poet Bill Bissett and his friend Jordan Stone. It has since expanded to become a poetry reading center, an art and photography gallery, and even a dance space. So if we come over here, this is the guy who is causing all the trouble these days. You can see a little bit about me down here. I wouldn't take too much time with that, but if you want to stop the video, go ahead. Here's a little bit about my statement about the photographs. I don't do a lot of manipulation from negatives. In this case, they would be digital files. I just pretty much put the camera to my eye and take pictures, and what turns out is what turns out. And I usually get some very interesting results. If I don't like them, I just throw them out. But that's my statement as a photographer. Again, you may have to stop the video to read it in depth. So the first section is called COVID Circles. So there are 9 photographs in total here, 3 large, 2 small, 3 and 6 small. They are images that were taken at the Van Gogh Immersive show. My interest is actually not so much the art that was on the walls, but the COVID circles and the people that you see sometimes standing inside them. In this case, I don't think there were too many. And down here, that's what fascinated me, was this document of this period in our history during COVID, to see what people were actually doing to distract themselves. And over here we have 12 pieces. This is what I was doing to distract myself. I would bike down to the Leslie Street Spit and I would take photographs on the beaver pond that's down there of the clouds and the water lilies. And these are all basically variations on a couple of very small pieces, very small portions of the water that I was photographing on a particular day, and I liked how they all turned out in the variations of the same shot, basically. Around the corner, we have what I call the abstract sessions. So these are all pictures that I took of images and patterns. That's light reflected on water. I think that's pretty much the same thing. I can't remember now. This is rust on a rusted chair seat, a metal chair seat. That's one of the oldest pieces in this collection. It dates back from the 90s. These next two are billboard backings that were stripped of their billboards. I loved the colors, the patterns that showed up on the metal. And these were taken outside, I think it was Charing Cross Station in London. I'm very happy with these. That's a shot from an airplane flying from Toronto to Los Angeles. This is again, oh, hello, there I am, one of the abstracts that was taken during, I think this might be the Klimt Immersive. Now here's Vincent himself in 3 variations. Again, this was the immersive. And then we go into this room where I have something called self-portraits. Obviously, I wanted you to have a little laugh when you saw these. That's my cousin Judy, my late cousin Judy. That's me at the James Dean Memorial near Cholame, California. And that is Joshua Tree Park, Skull Rock. It's a very, very famous piece. Again, this is not manipulated. That was the actual color from the sunset. And, well, that's me. Not making fun of anybody. I just thought I would see what I could do with that image. Over here, we have my 3 favorite pieces in the exhibition. This is called From the Fire Sermon. And the Fire Sermon is a piece. It's a section in T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. And I actually was saying something with this. And it goes from left to right. And basically we have, this is called Signs and Wonders, which I thought was a very calming, very reassuring image. And again, this is the Klimt immersive, and again, I was focusing very much on the people and the COVID circles. But then it goes over here, and I call this piece "What the Fire Said." And then the third piece is "Melting World." So I'm actually making a comment on what T.S. Eliot was getting at. In his case, he was talking about the decline of civilization after World War I. I'm making more of a statement about our particular, the state of our world these days, which is not very good. So here's a little bit of a statement here if you want to stop and think about this for a bit. Again, I don't often tell people what I'm trying to say if I'm trying to say anything. Very often I'm not trying to say anything. But in this case, I felt these three images were a form of narrative. And then we go back out to the hallway. This is the hardest piece of all to see because of the lights. You really can't see it. This is a rooftop in Florence at sunset. This was taken many years ago. And then these pieces, this is just a jumbly wall of fun pieces. This is almost like an electric turkey. This is the Habitat in Montreal. This was a rather disturbing piece that I came across in Mississippi down the road from my friend Floyd's place where I stay when I'm there. This is New Orleans traffic. Again, another shot of the Habitat in Montreal, which is one of my favorite buildings. I always stop to look at it when I'm there. This is another piece that's from the Van Gogh exhibit. I call this Interiors. This is the Ripley Aquarium. I love the jellyfish exhibit that's there. And this, I came home one night quite late to find this in my backyard. Something had torn apart this seagull. And rather than be horrified by it, I ran to get my camera because I just thought the patterns and the colors were so extraordinary. If we go around the corner here, this wall is called VOYEUR, which would seem to give the exhibition its title. These are three shots that I took from inside of a pub in London, England. I kept looking out at that young man and thinking, wow, how long has it been since I've worn a white t-shirt? I wouldn't dare wear one today. This piece I'm quite proud of. It's called Rat Car House. So the rat is California, the house is Blind River, Ontario, and the car is Blind River, Ontario, and the house is post-Katrina, New Orleans. These are two charming young men I met in New Orleans. They allowed me to take their photograph. And this was a very interesting person I've met in a nightclub in Los Angeles. Again, more than willing to be a subject of my photographs. This was a young man I met in Playa del Carmen in Mexico, and he loved the sunshine. He was from Germany, where I guess they don't get enough sun. This is called Sex Club Interior. I'm not going to give away too many secrets, but I don't think you will be offended by any of the images that you can make out, if you can make out anything in it. Here again is the young man in Germany. These are two scenes from Montreal, from across the river near Expo 67, the site of Expo 67, looking back towards the city. We're not going to get a very good shot of this one, I'm afraid, but you can see the Ferris wheel that they have there. These are very, very old shots. I think these actually predate the 3 decades that I'm trying to document. I think these were actually from the 80s, but I don't remember for sure. These are scenes set along the Florida Keys. And this goes back again. These, again, are the clouds and the water lilies on the beaver pond on Leslie Street Spit. Now, my camera was definitely set on, I don't know what to call it. It gave specific, it gave variations on the same shot and colorized them in a particular way. That was a really lousy explanation of what I'm trying to say. It was a camera setting. These are young people in Havana on the Malecon. I just love the formations that they made while they were hanging out here, and only one actually noticed that I was taking a photograph, and he doesn't look too pleased that I was doing it. And in the background is something that looks like, it's called El Capitolio. I think it looks like the White House in Washington, D.C., or maybe the Pentagon, I'm not sure. It was by the same architect. And these are the final shots. I'm going to actually change the lighting here because you won't be able to see anything until I do. This is the Saint-Joseph Oratory on Mount Royal in Montreal. I took this on December 31st, 2019, just as the snowstorm was about to take over the city. 5 minutes later, you couldn't see anything of this shot. I call this Blue Forest. This is on a logging road in north of Toronto on the Bruce Peninsula. And this is one of my favorites. Again, this can't see it very well because of the lights, but this is water lilies on the beaver pond on Leslie Street Spit. And that is the show. Hope you found that interesting.